Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending Thursday, June 15th, 2023, our regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen's meeting. I call our meeting to order and ask that we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I asked my fellow select people, or is there any changes or additions to the agenda? Hearing none, moving forward. Our next section would be our public comment. I see we have Kevin Tomoleri. This section of the agenda is reserved for people in attendance who wish to briefly address the board. The board requests that comments be limited to 3 minutes or less. People wishing to comment should type comment and state your name and address in the box, and you'll be recognized. Kevin?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity. As you will see in your agenda tonight, I sent in 3 different communications that I received recently that I think are important to share with you and the people of Hebron. They are all in regards to the property north of Kinney Road, also called the Horton property. And one of the most exciting things to happen recently was a visit from Professor Robert M. Thorson of the University of Connecticut, the leading Stonewall expert in Connecticut, New England, and probably across America. And after visiting the property, he shared this statement, quote, "I have never seen a series of Stonewall laneways like this. It took the planning and effort of the community to create them. The extensive patch of good soil with good drainage nucleates the town. This is a beautifully preserved community landscape rather than the hodgepodge of walls built by individual farmers," end quote. And Professor Thorson has over 30 years of experience studying stone walls and some of the unique attributes. So for him to come out and say that he's never seen a series of stone walls like this is a really important moment. And I brought this statement and the following statements from the Preservation Connecticut organization and Professor John Demos, the Professor Emeritus of History at Yale University, also to the meeting of the Historic Properties Commission in Hebron. And they showed some serious interest in studying and understanding these Stonewall laneways. So I was really happy with that result. Chairman Larson was at that meeting, and I think he'll agree that this was an important topic that deserves more study and recognition for its historic significance. And in the letter of May 2023, written by the archaeological circuit rider Stefan Danzig of Preservation Connecticut, he wrote, quote, "I am writing to you in support of the preservation and conservation of the field systems north of Kinney Road and south of Hebron Center Historic District. This 88.6 acre property has a long history of agricultural use by prominent members of the Hebron community." And he goes on, "The significance of the property extends to its use by local deaf community, the free Black community in Hebron, and to the Native Americans that called these lands home well before European colonists arrived." And you will see in the comments made by Professor John Demos of Yale University, his final comment was it could well be a history park and outdoor museum. And I'd like to refer again back to Mr. Danzig of Preservation Connecticut that adds, quote, "As a certified local government recognized by the
3 minutes are up. Your 3 minutes are up. Could you please finish up? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. As a certified local government, Hebron could utilize preservation planning funds to help this dream of its citizens become a reality. So I'd just like to bring that to your attention as we move forward in our discussions townwide on the future of this property. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And next up for public comment is Lily Rhodes.
Hi, thank you for taking my comment, Lily Rhodes, Slocum Road in Hebron. I wanted to draw your attention to the paper version of the DPW survey because it has references to links to view a presentation, to information about the Horton property, information about the town center plan. There's several pages where there are references to links, but because I'm not accessing it online, I'm looking at it as a piece of paper. I don't have a way to get to those links. This may be because I'm just not as computer savvy as I like to think I am, quite possible. But it also may be helpful if on perhaps the town webpage or something, there could be a quick link to each of the things that are referenced in what I assume are live links on the electronic version of the survey in SurveyMonkey. So just wanted to draw your attention to that little stumble that I'm experiencing as I do the paper version of the DPW survey. Thank you.
Thank you. There is, I believe, a section that talks about the Public Works Project Survey. So I will verify that that gets addressed. I don't know what the answer is yet, but thank you. Thank you for those comments.
Dan, I can address that right now. I can,
Okay.
I'll pull it up because it is there. It's under the section. I'm going to share my screen with that. Under this section where if they go to the home page and there's this big green click here for Public Works Project updates, they click on that and then right at the top is the survey and then the survey informational document. So this is a document that is attached to the paper survey, but all the links are here and they're live.
Okay.
Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
I stand corrected.
Well,
Yeah.
Now that you mention it though, we probably should have added a comment on that paper survey that the live links could be found on our website. So thank you, Lily.
Thank you.
Other comments? Thank you. Okay. Moving on, our good to know special recognition. Andy, do you have anything for tonight?
I do, Mr. Chairman. So with us tonight is a Samantha Guppy, intern from Atwood Dementia Group and a town resident. And she'll be representing the group on a project she wants to discuss with the Board of Selectmen. So if I may, I'll introduce Samantha.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, as well as members of the board. My name, as I was introduced, is Samantha Guppy. I am an intern with the Atwood Dementia Group. I firstly would like to extend Pam's deepest apologies. She can't be here tonight due to a scheduling conflict with her daughter's high school graduation. I hope you will join me in sending her your deepest congratulations to both her and her family. I am here to talk about some programs and projects that Atwood Dementia Group is putting together. We are currently doing a program we like to call the Fellowship Cafe. This is a program where we meet with members of the community who have been diagnosed with dementia and who are living with dementia, as well as their caregivers who are helping out and doing what they can. And we have a way to support the brain and to encourage the brain to keep moving in these difficult times, of course, since this is such a diminishing and fast-moving disease. We do items that are very cognitive stimulating, like word searches. We do simple things as just showing a picture and then we ask questions. So just today is Wednesday, I believe. Thursday, apologies. And so on Tuesday, we played a game where we held up a card. It had a picture of it on it, and on the back had some questions. And then the people who were there to join us for the program would answer the questions. And this is also a great time for both patient and caregiver to really bond and to get that brain moving and working when obviously it is such a difficult time. We also do items and activities such as like exercise to allow them to be up and moving. We pass the ball around. We are influencing music into our program. So we will play music as activities are going on, just some soft music in the background. Or we will play music and then we will have them up and dancing, whether that's just a simple sway or if that's moving with their arms and being in the chair, however is best to support them, as well as a bunch of other activities. As I said, we meet every Tuesday, except of course on holidays. If you are interested in attending or volunteering, or if you know of anybody who might be interested in volunteering, we encourage you to please call Pam Atwood at 860-798 0369 to register and for more information, or you can always reach out to us on our Instagram and Facebook, just the Atwood Dementia Group for both platforms. So we really encourage you to reach out and do that, as well as where we meet in our hours. The Fellowship Cafe summer hours are from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. The program is held at the Phillips Hall at St. Peter's Church, 30 Church Street, Hebron, Connecticut. The Fellowship Cafe is proudly supported by the Atwood Dementia Group, St. Peter's Church, the Hebron Greater Together Community Fund of the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving. This week and the next coming week, we are also partnering with the Alzheimer's Association of Connecticut in the Longest Day event. We will be encouraging Hebron residents to paint the town purple on June 21st, 2023. We hope that residents will wear purple, decorate with purple, put out forget-me-nots or forget-me-not decal stickers that will be on the Alzheimer's Association page that you can get, as well as I believe we will get some. Do not quote me on that, but I do believe we are looking into getting some up on windows or just near doors. We also encourage putting out a purple light bulb out by your front porch or any outdoor light where somebody may see it from the street, just to show your support and your awareness. We do realize that this is extremely last minute. We do hope that next year we will do a more specific and grander events, including any other ways that we can support our residents in town who are living with dementia, either a patient diagnosed or caregivers for people with dementia. Additionally, Atwood Dementia Group, Colebrook Village, Sharon Gerard of the Senior Center, and some of the members of the Commission on Aging will be rolling educational programs to help our businesses and community in general be more dementia friendly. And we hope the Board of Selectmen and the Town Hall staff in our community is engaged in that program as as it evolves, or we will keep you updated on this program as it evolves. At this time, I'd like to take a quick pause and see if there are any questions that might come up that I can answer for anybody.
I have a couple or a question. You know, for those of us who may be interested or who may actually need, I don't know. I sometimes wonder. So we would be able to get information, whether it be from Colebrook, our senior center. You know, I know you had given a phone number, but most of the time people don't write this kind of a stuff down. So
Yeah.
this information, it would be available. You know, where could people also, you know, many of the people that may need this type of assistance may not be necessarily computer literate.
Right.
So again, back, it would be at the senior center, or information could be garnered at where?
We do have flyers that we have posted all around town. We are looking into putting in more flyers, and yes, there will be flyers at Colebrook Village and the senior center in Hebron, as well as some other places like the post office and Ted's and other areas along our community. If you do and are interested, we also do have the Atwood Dementia page on just on Google. If you type in Atwood Dementia Group, it will pop right up and take you to the website. And if you go down to contact or about, it will be right there in our webpage where you can call this number that I mentioned and call and speak to Pam herself.
Okay, is there also going to be any flyers at St. Peter's? Because I know they have secretarial staff that are there at least some part of the day.
Yes, we do have flyers at St. Peter's as well as at Phillips Hall.
Anybody else have any other questions? Yes, Peter.
I have a comment. I just wanted to thank you for the work that you do and for bringing this type of service and support in terms of information to the community. I like many people firsthand have, you know, as a caregiver and as a family member, have dealt with the horrors of dementia more than once, and now my wife's going through it with her family. And the key here, Dan's point, I think, is not so much the communication to folks that might be at the beginning stages of this disease or at some on the continuum, but to reaching out to the potential caregivers and family members. And so the communication could be, it's as widespread as you can possibly make it, because going through it now again for the third time, it's the caregivers that are looking for the resources and the family members that are looking for the resources. And so the fact that you're doing what you're doing is wonderful work. And I know Pam and for many years, and you're doing wonderful work. But the fact that we're bringing this out, we can't bring it out enough to at least demonstrate to the public that there are resources out there, because one of the things that unfortunately caregivers can sometimes feel very alone in the journey that they have to take. And so thank you. I just want to thank you, Samantha, for the work that you're doing and for bringing this greater awareness to our community. Thank you.
Of course, and thank you for sharing that. This is also a part of our program where we do want to give caregivers a outlet to talk to other caregivers, or just to maybe see whoever they're caring for, whether that's a family member or a family friend, whoever that may be, that there is a sort of light at the end of that tunnel. I myself, which I can't be more thankful for, have not gone through this, but I do love the fact that I am given this opportunity, so that if I ever come across a situation like this, I know where to go, as well as I have this experience underneath my belt. I am an Eastern College student and I'm studying psychology, and so this is something that I want to do as a job, and I want to help people mentally and in some ways physically as much as I can. So it really means a lot for you to say that, as well as for other people to just really be engaged and listening. So yes, thank you so much. And if there are no more questions,
Well, I would ask also, I don't know if Tiffy has anything or not. No, I would also ask, and I really would like to not see it as a letter to the editor. I really would like to see it somehow on the Hebron section of like the River East. A brief discussion of what you're doing and a little bit of the facts that you laid out to us in that. I think sometimes letters get lost. People is like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Where it would be a nice little story type thing that this is happening. This group is putting this on in Hebron, for these purposes. And I would like to see that actually as I don't know how, and I don't know, Andy, whatever, how that would get into the Hebron section as compared to a letters to the editor. It may be something that have to go through the editor or the reporter. I don't know.
I have drafted together a press release that both Pam and I have reviewed. And we are looking into sending this into the River East. We just, Pam knows that it is very encouraged to have photos along with it. And so we are looking at getting a waiver for our patients as well as our caregivers for it to be okay for their photos to be in the paper. Obviously, since this is a very confidential, we take confidentiality very, very seriously. We want to make sure that's okay for everybody. So hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, hopefully by July, again, don't quote me on that, but hopefully by July, we will have the release over to the River East so that they can put it in the paper.
Thank you.
Of course. So if there are no more questions, I, as well as the rest of the staff at the Atwood Dementia Group, thank you for the opportunity to share this good to know information. I appreciate your time and attention. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you and good night. And thank you for all who asked questions and were involved. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Our next would be appointments and resignations. Andy?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have a resignation letter from the Green Committee. Attached is a letter from Denise Rodasevich resigning her position on the Hebron Green Committee. And then there's a motion in her letter. She states she got a promotion from the governor to work on the Council of Environmental Quality. So congratulations to her.
Okay. Read the motion. Move the Hebron Board of Selectmen accept the resignation of Denise Rodrosevich from the Hebron Green Committee with regret and thanks for her service. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes, please.
just a very quick comment. I think truly I accept this resignation with regret. I think Ms. Rodosevich has been an excellent member of the Green Committee, highly engaged with her work on there as the liaison to that committee, but certainly wish her all the best in her future endeavors. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor of this accepting of this resignation, please signify by saying aye. Peter?
Peter Casper, aye.
Tiffany?
Tiffany Teely, aye.
And myself, aye. So again, thank you, Denise, and good luck with your new position. Motion carried. Next would be town manager's report.
Again, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we are fortunate to have a budget approval. We'll be getting into that a little bit later on the agenda. But as activities, we've been busy wrapping that up. As we set a mill rate, or the Board of Finance set a mill rate last night. So you have some items that we'll be going through to possibly move this forward so we can close out the year. So we've been very busy working on that, myself and along with finance, my staff, and Board of Finance. We've also been very busy with interviews for the Public Works Director position, the Building Inspector position, and the Fire Marshal position. So the interviews have been conducted. We're moving into next steps, and hopefully we can get these people appointed. We're lucky to have some good candidates. So I think we're going to be okay. We had two construction projects go out to bid. One was the Wall Street sidewalk, and that bid came in over budget. That funding was coming from a steep grant, and then we had money put aside for a CIP. So between the two, we had an amount. The extra work that would needed to be done per the SHPO request, once again, drove this project over budget. So we've reached back out to SHPO and let them know the situation we're in. We're going to rebid this and see if we can't get more bids and hopefully come in under budget. And hopefully maybe in that time, SHPO will give us a little bit of leeway where we can do something different and have that as an alternate, move this project forward. So we continue to work on that. I know there's people on Ridge Road that come in on a monthly basis and want to know the status of that. The other project is Route 316 and Route 66. That's a bypass lane. There's going to be some widening there and new signalization for that intersection. That also, we got one bidder and that came in over bid. But that's a different situation. That's through CROG in the state of Connecticut. So I wouldn't be too alarmed. That came in about 30% over the bid. And apparently, most of the construction projects are coming in about 30% over. So in this case, what we would do is we would go back through CROG in the state and say, hey, do we want to award this bid to the one contractor? Do we want to rebid it? And if so, we would look for them to fund the additional funds that would allow us to do that project. So we're working on that as we speak. So those are two things we're doing, and we'll keep you posted. You'll be hearing about that again at our next meeting. And then we have Hebron Day coming up. So we've been doing quite a bit of work to get that place ship shape. Looks like it's going to be very successful with 80 plus vendors. We're also going to start working on Maple Fest next week to try to reorganize that, to try to get it more of a back to a Maple Fest versus a food truck festival, as some of the members have been calling it. And we're looking to take ownership of that back more to the town of Hebron versus the Wyndham Chamber. Try to clean that up a little bit. I've been working with the building committee on the facility study for the town buildings and the two schools. That's in motion. We've got the contractor hired that's going to perform that, and we're department heads and building maintenance people are filling out the information to get back to them so they can start their work. So we're doing that. That's something that we've been wanting to get going. We ended up having a retiree picnic last week for Randy Blaze, the building official, Kevin Kelly, the public works director, and Karen Bowen, who was a public works administrator down there. So we had a little picnic on the grounds and gave them a send off, a lot of years of employment, retired. Last day of school was today. I saw a lot of happy faces, a lot of smiling kids. So that's a good thing. And that's pretty much what I had, other than in the correspondence, you can see we're still looking to put somebody on that commission. And Donna, do we have somebody that's interested in that, or are we still looking for the selectmen to come up with some names? The Central Region Tourism District, we're
we're looking for someone to serve on that. The person we thought we had is not able to do it.
Okay, so it was Judy Purdell, but she's requested to have her name removed. So we would need to appoint somebody to that. If you know of anybody that would fit that venue or is interested in that, let us know. And that's it for that, Mr. Chairman.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to do a quick shout out. I see Mark Stewart on. Thank you very much. Hi, Mark. A very long-term past Board of Selectmen member. And to be honest, I'm not even sure how many years he was on the Board of Selectmen. But it's great to see your happy, smiling face. And good day.
Thank you for the recognition.
Our next would be the American Rescue Plan State and Local Recovery Funds update. And that's something that we're going to be doing Thursday, June 29th, 2023 at 7 p.m. So I don't know if that requires any further discussion at this point. Again, just everybody hopefully plan on being there. You going to be sending out any updated information on that, Andy, or?
Yeah, we'll be sending out some information along with an agenda. So I'm kind of going to jump around on you a little bit, but it affects this as well. So I guess it's an appropriate time to bring it up. So normally in the past, maybe Mark Stewart can contest to this. If there's not a lot of town business to be conducted, the next meeting would be July 6th. That's a pretty big vacation week due to the holiday. So normally we would ask the selectmen to postpone that meeting or forego it. Because I have some appointments I think we're going to need to make for, building officials, public works, and fire marshal possibly, I would like to add those to this special meeting that's going to be on the 29th. So it'll be more than just a workshop. It'll be, I'll probably have that information regarding the bid on the Route 66 and 316. We would need to look at that and take some action as the Board of Selectmen, whether we want to pursue that with the one bidder, or if we want to put that out to bid. I would need some direction. It couldn't go till late in July. We would lose too much time. So I was hoping to, one, add that to this agenda on June 29th, and I would propose further down when you look at the draft agenda for July 6th that you consider possibly postponing that meeting.
Since this is on the docket, it makes sense to me to, because it is a special meeting, we do have to warn everything that's going to be on that, and we are not able to add things to that agenda. So I think it would be relevant to add this, and if for whatever reason those items are not ready to be discussed and voted on, then we could just table them. Feelings? Pete, Tiffany?
I mean, I don't have an issue with it as long as it's properly noticed.
I'm fine with it as well.
I would suggest putting them on there, and then if worse comes to worse and they're not ready to be discussed, we just don't discuss them. But at least this way, they make the notice, they make the timeline.
Okay, we'll put them on there.
Okay. The Public Works Building Project Survey Committee update.
And Mr. Chairman, I will provide an update, and we been fortunate to have a few of the members of the committee online, including the aforementioned Mr. Stewart. So I've encouraged them and thank you again for giving them the leeway to comment as well. But I will start out by providing a summary, and then obviously defer to any other committee member to add any color or context to what I've provided or any commentary. I would say it's going very well. We have a little over 400 respondents, which would get us to at least the minimum threshold of statistical relevance, from what I've been told. And so that's very encouraging. We're getting a steady flow, and as we would expect, it went out on June 6th, and a lot of respondents the first day, a little bit less the second day, and now we're into that 20 or so a day. So it'll lessen some, but we clearly are over the threshold. So very encouraged by that. We have about 145 comments. So people that have taken the time to put additional comments in. We will not look at the results or the comments until the survey closes, because we all want to prevent any potential bias. If we were to see sort of the direction it's headed, we might comment and influence somebody who's taking the survey later on in the survey period. So I won't provide any update, and I don't know the outcome. I don't know what that is. The committee's purposely, just waiting for the survey to be completed in terms of the dates to be completed. I will say that although I appreciate Lily's comments and maybe we can do something there, we don't want there to be any confusion as to how to access the additional information. But I would say all up, the town has done a really nice job supporting the communication plan on this. So thank you, Andy and Donna and the staff for doing that. I think that's indicative, or the respondents so far indicative of some good communication. They got on it right away, supported it right away, and followed the direction of our consultants. So we have consistency there. And so I would say we're off to a very good start. Again, a reminder that will run until July 15th. So there's still plenty of time to complete it. As an example, I have not completed it yet. So there's plenty of time, and we're at a point where we're going to, I think, get some really, really good feedback. So that's where we are. So I will defer now to for the next few minutes. If Mark, I see, I think Terry's on, and Mal was on. I don't see him in my screen, but I know Terry's on and Mark's on, and I know Mal was on before. So would any of you like to add any context or comments regarding that update?
I just like to mention that the distribution of the survey still seems to be a little haphazard. I've talked to a number of people in town, and they have not received an email invite or anything in the mail with regards to the survey. And in fact, as a member of the committee, I expected to be on that list, and I have not actually got an invite to take it either. So I think we want to make sure that we're spreading as wide a net as possible. I'm glad to hear we have 400 responses. We'll see what the results are when the survey closes. Thank you, everyone, for all the work and for the support from the town for doing this.
Thank you,
Can
Mark.
I-
Terry, go ahead, Donna.
I'm sorry, it's Donna. I just wanted to ask Mark, because I'm not sure what you mean by an email invite. What email invite are you referring to?
Well, I was led to believe by our consultant that emails were going to be sent out, that the town had a distribution list of emails and would be sending emails to residents.
So the only email distribution list that we have and that we have used is the weekly management report that people can sign up for on our website. And that has about 300, probably 400 subscribers right now. And we did use that a couple different ways. We used it when on June 6th, when the survey was released, we sent a specific email to all those participants just for the survey. And then we include it in the weekly management report every week. But we do not have any other email distribution list.
How are the residents being notified about the survey then?
So Facebook, our website, and we have run a press release in all of the local newspapers, and hopefully it'll be in the River East every week with references to how to receive it.
Okay, I will let my associates, my colleagues, and acquaintances know that they'll have to go out to find the URL off the website or Facebook to take the survey. So that people seem to know about it, they're just not sure how to access it. Thanks, Donna.
You're welcome. If there are any other suggestions or any other means you want us to get it out there, we definitely can do that. Thank you.
Go ahead, Terry. You've got an audio issue?
I guess.
Okay. Okay.
I found out about it because I went in to get a fishing license, and I happened to go and talk to the town clerk, and I saw him on her counter, and she says, "Oh, somebody was just in here and said, oh, this is the surveys. I can make 100 of these and stuff the box." I'm hoping the guy was just being funny, but that was how I found out about the survey. I'm wondering, in talking about how to get it out there, we do have the police message board, if you will. Could that be utilized? I'm concerned that people could quote unquote stuff the boxes. You could make literally 100 copies, like the guy said that. Oh, all I have to do is. I'm just concerned. People would be honest
in the system if you were so inclined, I suppose. I mean, we would see that, if a survey, if there's a lot of photocopies of the survey, you can figure that out. There'll be some margin of error that, people will get somehow to it more than once. We did make a decision to make it anonymous, to give people a comfort level that they could complete it without being known. And so, yeah, if your motivation is to somehow say the same thing over and over and over again 100 times, okay. I mean, that's why we have the consultant that also can look for those anomalies, because electronically, right, it'll track the IP addresses, but could somebody try to figure out how to complete it more than once? And with any survey, there is the opportunity for someone to maybe potentially take advantage. But that's why we have the consultant to look for those trends and anomalies to see if there's anything that's a concern. So, we'll defer to him because we've asked that question to him as well, because if there's someone that has ill intent, then, we want to try to ferret that out, because what we're looking for is public opinion. We're not looking to, that's it. We're looking for the public's feedback, and we're not looking for an outcome. We're looking for feedback as we continue the journey. So hopefully people will provide that feedback in the context in which it has been asked for, which is honesty, integrity, and give your opinion and let us view it the way it should be. And so
the other thing
that's
is
why we
at
had
the town hall, at least, there is a camera, which I noticed. So, I mean, you could see if somebody comes in with, a wad of things 2 inches wide.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that asking someone wants to skew the opinion poll, but it's possible. Again, that's why we have the consultant who is an expert in it to look for those anomalies that I may not pick up as a committee member, because I've used SurveyMonkey and other things in my job, but I'm clearly not an expert in that area. And so having the consultant, that's another reason to have the consultant to answer those questions. Did he see anything that would suggest impropriety or anomalies or things that maybe we pulled out, or somebody was trying to, through the same IP address, do the survey 3, 4, 5, 10, 100 times, that sort of thing. We're not seeing that yet. I asked him for anything he's concerned about. He's not seeing that yet, but clearly that's one of his watch outs, to make sure that there's integrity tied to the outcome of the information that then we can act upon.
And the other thing would be,
Dan, I was just going to say to maybe ease your mind on the paper surveys being, duplicated in bulk. The way the return boxes are constructed, the person, if they were trying to stuff the box, they would have to spend a significant amount of time putting their returns into the box. They could not take a whole sheaf of paper and put it into that box without it being evident. So I don't, they'd really have to work hard to do that without being noticed.
and then my other concern is with talking with some of the seniors. I didn't have a problem doing it online, and I'm I'm not that computer literate, although maybe I'm smarter than I think I am at some points. But I've had some of the seniors, you know, it's like I'm hoping that they will attempt it because some of them are feeling like, oh, I'm going to have to do X, Y, Z. You know, they just feel a little intimidated. And I don't know how to get those people. I just don't know how to get them to try to do it.
I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. The last time we did a town-related survey, and maybe it was on the Board of Finance, I forget, but the demographic dispersion relative to electronic participation was just as strong for seniors as any other group. And for me, you know, like all of us are connected to seniors, the idea is that a lot of that information, they're, I think, a stronger group than you might think. Now, there's always an outlier or somebody, even like me, that may not be as good electronically, but I remember asking that question before in a previous survey the town did, and they were well represented electronically without any issues as a group.
Yeah.
Clearly, how do we help the individuals? That's why they're the paper copies. That's why, you know, hopefully their friends and family and things can help direct them and help them through the electronic process, those that need assistance. But I would actually expect that group to be well represented in the survey electronically based on my past experience with surveys at the town.
Okay.
But it's a good point. We want as many people to participate. That's why there's a QR code. That's why there's press releases. That's why it's on the website. That's why there's paper copies. And if somebody needs help and we need to deliver some copies to the senior center and you want me to sit there and help and be a resource as a committee member, I'm happy to do that. And so if you're hearing that, if there's a way for us to have an outreach component and bring some surveys to like the senior center as an example and be there to help, just let me know. And I'm happy to assist in any way I can as a community member.
And those are available at both the town hall. I know they're at the town hall. I heard tell the senior center. Is there any library?
They're at the library, senior center, and town hall, and people can call in and we will mail it to them if they'd like, or they
Okay.
can stop in and pick them up.
Perfect. Terry, I see you're back. Did you have a comment?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I had a comment earlier, basically just to give some input that I am in that town manager distribution list, and the survey did come through on that mailing. So that's a positive thing. The Peter pretty much covered, I could hear in the tail end as I was switching computers, the question of integrity and how to go through here. There's a million ways that this system can be gamed. And if that's what people are trying to do, well, we're at their mercy. What we need as citizens are true thoughts as to what we need to do in the future. And I believe that message is getting out there. And that's about all I had to say, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, Tiffany, anything?
No, just to echo what Pete said previously, you know, anytime you do a survey like this, you always provide for statistical anomalies. You know, again, I think you'd have to be pretty motivated to try to skew this. And so, you know, I think caution's important, but I'm not sure it's warranted at this point. You know, I think that's what, you know, our consultant is there for. So I am encouraged by the participation so far. I mean, in a perfect world, I'd love to see like 1,000 come back to us. So we'll see what we can do. I've also noticed on social media, it's getting really good traction. So nice job.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey,
Okay,
Dan,
yes, sir.
it's Mark Stewart.
I'm sorry.
I'd like to point out that there's been a lot of talk about statistical validity with regards to this survey. And the only thing that's going to make this survey meaningful is a high participation rate from the community, because this is not a statistically valid sampling. It's not random, and it's not being driven in that fashion. So it is a matter of numbers. And what I'm hoping for is that we have good, broad participation. And, you know, some people have talked about stuffing the box, and let's hope that that does not happen. And since IPs are determinant of the who did the survey, although you can have multiple people in the same household taking the survey. But if we find a lot of surveys coming from the same IP, I think we have to call some, the committee will have to decide whether to call those out so that what we return to the Board of Selectmen is something that's useful and meaningful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Al, did you have anything? I didn't see you before, so I might have missed you, but did you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Everything's been pretty much said. I am encouraged by the participation to date. And also, just to allay some of the fears here, the survey that Peter referred to that we conducted, the Board of Finance conducted, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, had about 530 responses. Of the 530 responses, we had less than 25 paper responses. And in fact, we had a very high, one of the highest number of responses came from citizens 60 and older, because in that particular one, we were asking the age in that particular survey. So I think it's something we need to keep our eye on, but I would agree with what's been said. I don't think it's, I think it's going to be a monumental task to successfully stuff the ballot box, so to speak. And I don't think it's going to be as bad as what we're hearing people say. So thank you, Peter and team.
Thank you, guys.
Unless there's other questions, I'm ready to move. That's my update.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, all of you guys. Thank you, yeah, whatever. Thank you. Okay, item 8E, Andy.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So at this time, I'm going to call on Donna Lanza to put up some stuff on the screen that's not in your packet, because the packet went out prior to the budget being approved, and then we raced around to get the information for the Board of Finance, who acted on it at their meeting and set a mill rate. So now we'll be coming forward to you with some information regarding the budget as soon as Donna gets that up there.
Okay, I am having my screen share, unfortunately, is not working the way it should be, because I am sharing what appears to be what we're supposed to be, but what you're viewing is an older item. So I'm working on it. But let me just try it again, because I've tried it a few different.
You're the lady.
I thought at the previous item, I had what I thought was the correct item up there, but I've just learned that that's not what you're seeing. So just give me a moment, please. Gonna try it a different way. Yeah, I am not sure what's going on, but for some reason on my screen, I see what we need to see, but on what is sharing up there is not, it's not changing.
We're still seeing item 8A.
So, yeah, I know that, but I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, we can walk them
So,
through it.
I
Sure.
just wish I could, because there's a motion here and everything. So, Andy, did you want me to read Elaine's memo or read the agenda item first? I'm sorry about this. I'm not really
No,
sure
that's
why,
okay.
but okay. So the agenda item, the revised budget update, is that the budget was approved at the June 13th budget referendum, and then we have the results, the yes, the no, the absentee ballot. So a total of 1901 voted. Yes was 1187, no was 714. on Wednesday, June 14th. So last night, the Board of Finance set the mill rate at 33.19. And attached is the summary of the approved budget, which unfortunately I cannot show you, but it's that big summary page that we have, the mill rate. They were able to add a little bit more revenue than had been originally in the budget that we voted on, because the state finalized their budget just within the last few days. So we did receive more ECS funding. So I'm going to quickly read the memo that Elaine provided. As requested, please accept this communication as a summary of actions taken at the Board of Finance meeting held on June 14th. Discussion ensued regarding the excess costs for outplaced students and reimbursement to the Board of Ed of received grant dollars. The board moved to approve these monies to the Board of Ed contingent on receipt of state SEDAC report and an excess cost ledger detail report submission to the finance director's office. $90,269 was dispersed to the Board of Ed in April, and $54,661 is pending. The mill rate was set at 33.19, which is lower than what was forecasted from action taken at the May 25th, 2023 meeting, as the state finalized their biennial budget, and Hebron is receiving an additional $283,862 in educational cost sharing grant funds. Upon including these additional revenue dollars to the proposed budget, the mill rate reduced from a 1.84 increase to a 1.49 increase, or 33.19 rather than 33.54. The finance director reported that the Board of Selectmen would hopefully act on the $50,000 reduction to town government budget at their June 15th meeting by reducing the CIP contribution amount from $488,017 to $453,602, as Hebron has also received an additional $34,415 in LoCIP revenue from the state. This additional revenue cannot offset the general fund directly, as it is offsetting revenue to CIP Fund 003. The additional $15,585,000 could come from the Senior Center Budget Department's 3013 in the amount of $2,585. And that line is their part-time payroll for the van program. And then 13,000 from Department 3020, which is part-time payroll for the Senior Center, where a grant has now been received for the clerical position. Please note that due to the lateness of the approved 23-24 budget, the Finance Department now has limited time in which to perform this database creation and all that goes into doing so. Additionally, please be advised that the Finance Director is on vacation the first 2 weeks of July. So that is it. And we do have a motion that I wish I could share on the screen, but I can read it. So the proposed motion is that, well, the town manager is recommending the $50,000 reduction to the budget come from the CIP line, the Senior Center part-time payroll, and the senior van part-time payroll. So the motion is moved that the Hebron Board of Selectmen approve the budget reductions as followed. CIP general fund contribution reduced by $34,415. The Senior Center part-time payroll account reduced by $13,000, and the senior van part-time payroll account reduced by $2,585 for a total reduction of $50,000. That's
Okay.
it.
Thank you. Hearing the motion, going to open it up for discussion. I am inclined to approve the motion, if nothing for timeliness. I do have some very grave concerns. we can discuss them, but I'm still requesting that the motion in fact be accepted and approved. My concerns are, we have literally eviscerated our CIP accounts. And I'm not sure how that's going to play next year. So these are things that, we're going to have to consider. CIP, instead of going up in dollars as our expenses have gone up, and as was planned back when CIP was first established, and even before I got involved, even with the Board of Finance, instead of going and gaining more money to fund the projects because of nothing else, just increase in costs, we're going backwards. And the other thing is, I'm looking at our payrolls. I'm very nervous that, and I guess we're going to be okay these coming years, or this coming year. But point blank, we have really got to start getting our personnel's pay up to where it belongs, because what's happening now throughout the state is every town is poaching these few bodies, the trained individuals, whether you name a position in a town employee list, they're being poached by everybody. And we're going to end up with not great people if we don't start getting our payrolls up where they belong. So that's just kind of my comments. I don't know, Tiffany, Peter.
Yeah, if I can jump in, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to understand how the reductions in these two senior centers, I'd like to understand how they were decided upon. Given that the $13,000 is covered by grant funding, how will this reduction impact senior van coverage? And were there no other recommendations or anything that you could bring forward to us to consider besides the senior van? I need to understand how that cut's going to impact that service. Thank you.
I'll let Andy jump in. I had prepared a number of potential areas that we could think about and discuss. Thankfully, with the state, well, I'll let Andy explain it before I get into it. I'll let Andy go ahead. Andy, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's pretty easy explanation, at least it is, I think it is. So as we stated, the grant is going to offset what we budgeted for payroll for that position. So that's a no-brainer. But year after year, the budget for the van drivers has always had a large surplus in it at the end of the year. And this year is the same way. So we feel by reducing it by that amount of money, it's not going to affect services whatsoever.
Approximately how much of, you say that there's often a lot left in there. I mean, approximately how much? Has that analysis been done?
Well, I don't have it in front of me here. Donna, do you recall what what was left in that line account? I know it was more than what we're taking.
I do not know that number.
We met with the finance director, and yeah, this is not going to affect the services. This amount is less than the overages. I could send those. We can have those sent out tomorrow from the office to you.
Yeah, I think I'd like to understand it, and I'm not going to oppose the motion per se, right? We have to make these cuts. It is what it is. But I think in the future, Mr. Chairman, I would really like to see other options, right? Instead of just 3 recommendations being given to us. I think, sure, that might result in further discussion, but I think it would be helpful to kind of see where else monies could come from. I'm placing my trust that services won't be impacted for seniors with that small reduction there. And certainly if we've been running an overage, that is logical. But I think in this instance, more information is helpful than less. Thank you.
Tiffany, I do not disagree. My areas that I was looking at was there's a fund within the fire department that I've talked about multiple times. I was also looking at whether or not it would be or what the cost would be to possibly reduce the recycling center hours by a day. I was looking at what would the cost be to possibly cut back on some of the mowing and field maintenance. Um, come on, Daniel. I'm trying to think of what the other ones were. I had a list of things that, and as I have said, and I stated even to the paper, I will not cut back, or I would fight cutting back on anything that involved the police, actual fire department personnel, things like that. I would not, I would fight hard not to cut those areas. The other area that we have that is not a state mandated thing would be some of the library. So, could we do something with some of the part-timers there? Thankfully, with the state budget getting finalized and us being able to receive monies that we had not anticipated, it makes those decisions go away. If the budget had not passed and we had been reduced more, point blank, these are areas that, as unpopular as they are, we do not provide a lot of services to the town that are not somehow mandated by the state or federal or whatever. There's just not a lot of fluff. One of our big issues, and again, a perfect example, is our fire marshal, building inspector. When he goes away, and he deserves vacations. I'm not going to say that. Well, I'm sorry, he's a one-man show, so he doesn't get a vacation. He deserves vacations, but when he goes away, we have nobody to cover. So we have to try to find someone of like certification to cover these positions, and we don't have that. And I remember even when I was one of the paid maintainers, for the fire department back, God, I'm not even sure how many years ago, 40 years ago, whatever, we would have to plan our vacations around events that were going on in town so that we would not leave the town unprotected. And I don't know how to address that. I just don't.
It's Donna. I did pull out my budget book is sitting here right beside me. So I have the expenditure report that was provided during budget. So this is a little bit dated. It's dated February 23rd. But for that senior center part-time payroll line, I can just give you the numbers over the last few years of what that total budget was. And the fiscal year 21-22 final expenditure, and that 21-22 year could be a little bit lower because of COVID, because we were probably still coming out of COVID. The total expense to that part-time payroll line was just over $42,000. Current year's budget, the current year adopted budget, is $75,964. She requested for this next year $84,614. And the town manager's recommendation and what the selectmen had moved forward was $82,000. So that does include a significant increase over the current year's budget. So that 2585 really should not have a huge impact. And that like Andy said, it is always, it is never fully expended.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
appreciate the information, Donna. Thank you. I think that that's incredibly helpful. And I think, Mr. Chairman, I'll just reiterate what I said before. I think more options is better than less. And I think that, it's clear that you have your priorities and I respect that. But some other members of the board may have different ones. And so I think that in the interest of moving forward and having these conversations, and I mean, in the grand scheme of the budget, this is just talking about pennies. But again, I think it would be helpful moving forward to see other options of where certain dollar amounts could come from. But I don't plan to oppose the motion tonight. I think it makes sense, and I appreciate Donna's clarifying information. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you. Andy, yes.
Yeah, so I totally hear what Tiffany's saying and I agree with her. The issue that we had was we weren't sure if that budget was gonna pass. It passed on Tuesday night. The Board of Finance set the mill rate Wednesday night, and here we are in a Board of Selectmen's meeting Thursday night, so I didn't have a lot of time. So I knew this wouldn't affect services, so that's why we're proposing that, but it's no excuse, it's just an explanation.
But again, these are discussions, we really need to start having. There are issues that we are going to need to address down the road. And I think we need to discuss them before they become issues, not when our backs are against the wall. Peter?
I'm in agreement with what's been covered and the approach we're taking. So I'm fine. I would just be reiterating what's already been covered. So good dialogue and good points. Thank you.
Okay. Now that we have the motion in front of us, move the Hebron Board of Selectmen approve the budget reductions as follows. CIP general fund contribution reduced by $34,415. The senior center part-time payroll account 3020 reduced by $13,000. The senior van part-time payroll account 3013 reduced by $2,585 for a total reduction of $50,000. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Tiffany?
Tiffany Teely, aye.
Peter?
Peter Casper, aye.
And myself, aye. Thank you. Our next section would be, or is there any other any other old business? Okay, hearing none, moving on to new business, the pollinator pathway request and for tree and ceremony. Andy?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is more, I think tonight, more point of information. So Michelle Sinkaz is working with the town planner, Matt Bordeaux, and Parks and Recreation Director Craig Bryant on a request for a proclamation, tree planting and dedication ceremony. The tree will be located on the town office campus near the Horton House, and the details will be announced at a later date. So she's been working with the town planner and the Parks and Recs director, but she had sent a letter, and I want to make sure I didn't slight her. She thought we were going to meet a week earlier, so you can see in the backup material, I'd sent her an email. I said that we would be meeting on June 15th, and I'll put it on the agenda. But now that she's working with Matt and Craig, I don't think she was ready, and I didn't know if she was going to be here tonight, so I didn't want to not put her information in this packet. So I think if you read through it, or if you looked at your backup materials, you'll see what she's proposing to do. The reason we had picked the area is we had a tree that was there that is dead or died. So we're looking to replace it. So we figured that'd be a good spot. She was okay with that, but I don't believe she has a proclamation ready yet. Does she, Donna? I don't believe she submitted one to us.
No, we do not yet have a proclamation, no.
My question or comment is, unless it's something we do out of next year's budget, we don't have any money. We're already in a budget freeze. We've expended all of our approved finances. Where would the money come from?
I believe the Park and Rec Department's taken out of their other fund that they have from the cell tower. I think they were gonna work with Pride's Corner and purchase it through that fund.
Okay. Because I'm not opposed at all to the concept, but yeah, we put a freeze on everybody weeks ago
Yeah.
because, yeah, quite literally, the town has expended its appropriated amount of money. So if Parks and Rec can do it out of whether it's the Fund 4 or whatever, then great.
That's what's proposed. I think it's Fund
Okay.
15.
So at this point, there's really no action that we need to do.
Nope. If she was gonna show up, I wanted it in there. I want to be on her good side. And by her email, she thought the meeting was a week before, and I got back. I said, no, it's the 15th. So I wholeheartedly thought she would be in attendance to speak to this, but I know she's working with the two department heads on that. So I guess we'll hear more in the future.
Okay. Anybody have any comments, input? Okay. Our next thing would be the Public Works Facility update.
Yeah, so under item 9B, Public Works Director Kevin Kelly, who recently retired, has provided the attached report and information in response to the request at the last meeting for an update on the status of the current Public Works facility. There's a memo from him to you and myself. And I don't know if you want me to read that into the record so people that are on this Zoom meeting can hear it, or we want to put that up on the board. What's your pleasure, Mr. Chairman?
I'll read it. And that way that's at least into the record, then we can do the discussion from there. Dear Board of Selectmen, this memo is to provide you with information on the status of repairs at the Public Works Building on Old Colchester Road. We requested $50,735 for the roof repairs in the capital outlay budget for the upcoming year. When this is approved, we will schedule the repair of the main Public Works building and the replacement roof of the storage building. The crew has removed the old trailer behind the building and the replacement roof of the storage building. The crew has removed the old trailer, the crew has removed the old trailer behind the storage building that was considered a hazard and restored the siding on the rear of the building. We have contracted A&A exterminators to continue to control the vector population at the transfer station and maintenance building. Skip's wastewater service inspected the septic system and has reported that it is currently at 3/4 capacity. We are not recommending repair at this time. This may need replacement in the future. Presently, the rest area continues to be problematic, and the restrooms are undersized for the size of the crew. The employees continue to work within the physical limitations of the building. We have invited the OSHA consultant for guidance on safety issues in the past and have corrected any issues. I have recently asked if he can schedule another inspection. If he determines that anything needs repair, we commit to bringing any issues into compliance in a timely manner. I was informed that there has been a suggestion that the department relocate to the public or the Parks and Recreation facility at Bird Hill Park. I do not agree that this would be beneficial to the town or the department. There is not sufficient space or maintenance equipment, example, vehicle lift and oil storage, that would allow our fleet personnel to keep our equipment running so that the crew can remain efficient. Also, there is not a fueling station or availability of the construction supplies needed for our daily activities. Until a decision is made to either locate our current location or relocate to a new one, I would suggest maintaining operations as they currently are. In this work environment, safety is paramount and a requirement. Even though the existing building extends limitations, management and employees alike work consistently to assure a safe and healthy work environment. If in the future a decision is to remain on our current address or rebuild the current building, one of the greatest challenges will be how to phase construction so that the department can continue to operate efficiency through any construction process. And this was respectfully submitted by Kevin Kelly, Director of the Public Works.
So to narrate that is they've outgrown the building and it's starting to get outdated. It's not like it's in complete disarray or it wasn't maintained. It's just when we had 6 trucks and 6 employees, now we're up to 13 trucks and 13 employees. So the break areas, the lavatories, the truck storage, there's some new requirements now for having a wash bay. But the stuff that's there, the trailer was hazardous. That was an add-on from the old garage across the street to cold storage building. That's been removed and re-sided. So that area's, I think, was the biggest area of concern. And now that the budget is passed, there's going to be money in the budget to do some of these repairs that were noted. And you'll see some quotes for the backup information that we discussed.
Okay. I don't know. My personal thing is let's see what the survey comes back as. And that'll hopefully give us some sort of guidance. Yeah. Has everybody actually gone down there and toured the facility? You know, it's the old adage, you hate putting lipstick on a pig because you're still going to end up with a pig with lipstick.
That letter that was referencing OSHA, Donna, I read it, but I didn't remember where it was in the page numbering. There was a listing of items and a reference to OSHA. Maybe it's that.
I don't know, Andy, you want to comment, or I can comment at least on some of it?
I'm not sure what the question is. I do have the letter from the union. Is that what you're referring to?
Maybe it's that, Andy. there was just a letter in there that I wanted to sort of focus on a little bit. And I should
Is
have.
that the end of the packet from John Cole from the union?
Yes. Yes. Now that I'm seeing, yes, it is. I know that's dated, but where are we? Could you just remind me where we are with the union?
Yeah, so this is something that the union put forth when I think everybody on this meeting knows we've been trying to replace this building for 13 years. So with that being said, I think the union stepped in at some point and there were some issues going on, like the roof. We're getting that fixed. The mice, he's employed people that take care of that. We had the sewer fixed or pumped and checked. That's working. About the hazardous substance, we have, like portable washing stations. That's about the best we could do with the fit in the building that we have. Mechanic employees, we bought a lift that's in there now that they didn't have. So we have bought another shed. We moved the foreman out into a carefree shed out in the parking lot due to space requirements or limitations, I should say. So a lot of the guys, we put a table upstairs. A lot of the guys go upstairs and have their lunch up there. And no place for them to rest or sleep. A lot of the guys during snow operations will nap or take their required breaks in the truck. Or they'll stop at one of the firehouses. We have an agreement with them that they can, take their breaks as required by the contract and the safety requirements. So I've been in touch with the union. We did some stuff immediately. When we got this, we took care, like I said, the septic tank. We patched the roof, but it needs to be permanently fixed. That's in the budget, just got passed. So I'm not sure if that covers it, Peter, or am I missing anything that you would?
No, well, I just wanted to understand, intersecting with the union going forward, are they having any issues or anticipating issues with what steps have been taken to address these outlined concerns, which prevents them from feeling the need to call in OSHA? So are we at that juncture now where the union is comfortable that at least the steps that are being taken are adequate enough for them to not feel the need to call in OSHA?
Yes, because we've already ourselves taken it upon ourselves to reach out to OSHA. We're lucky enough to have one of the OSHA inspectors that lives in town. So we invite him in and applaud that. So we actually took that step, or we're going to take it again. We're waiting to hear back from him, but we've reached out to him this last month, but we're waiting to hear back. But they normally come in at no charge and give us a punch list. So yes, the union was satisfied with that.
And then when that happens, would you be so kind as to keep this on the agenda so we can be updated accordingly? It just feels like we just need to be with you on this journey. And so if you could update us as more information surfaces as a result of that inspection, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Like I said, I think, I don't want to speak for the union, but I think knowing that the town's been trying to move forward with some sort of improvement or replacement for the last 13 years, I think they were just starting to get frustrated and giving us a little bit of a push, quite frankly. But it is what it is. But we're addressing it, and we'll keep it on the agenda if that's what the selectmen want.
I would like it to stay on the agenda unless anybody disagrees.
Pete, and also, I'm just going to interject here because Andy really didn't cover it. We can call as a town. I did it with the fire department. I called OSHA in, had them go through all my buildings when I was fire chief, and they will come in and do a complete site survey. And unless they find something that is immediately dangerous to life and health, they will give you a punch list of all items that they feel are of concern or that need to be addressed without fines, without any of that kind of stuff. So they'll actually come in and do a survey and kind of give you a report card on how your facility is. So this is what he's talking about. So they'll actually come in and, you may think you're doing pretty great, but they may find, like, one of the things downtown the garage was they had, rusty electrical panels. They also had unmarked circuits. So basically we had to either trace out the circuits or if they went nowheres, because a lot of the stuff has been cut back or removed, put in panel fillers, things like that, which satisfied all of their concerns. So it's a service that's offered by OSHA that is a great service, to whether it be business, municipalities, whatever. So that's what he's talking about with the reports where they've come in and done that for the town.
That's great. And as long as we continue to, I don't think we can over communicate on this item. So as long as we take that mindset going forward, because again, this is a marathon. We have, what amount to be years probably before any facility is completed, wherever it is, wherever the public directs us. And so I think this continued transparency will be important to give the public confidence that we're staying on top, we're staying current, and we're informing everybody through this process as to what the status is. So that's all. That sounds great. I appreciate the additional information and it continuing to stay on the agenda. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Tiffany?
I don't have anything to add, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Our next thing would be the donation of the dump truck to the Hebron Lions. Andy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. So approved donation of a dump truck to the Hebron Lions. This is something we've been doing through the years now. It helps them, and we run these trucks until they're pretty much not really roadworthy. They use it just in the site or their property for the Lions Fair. So attached is a memo, once again, from Public Works Director Kevin Kelly recommending donation of an out-of-service dump truck to the Hebron Lions. The town manager concurs with this recommendation, and then there's a motion. But then behind in the packet, there's the memo says the Public Works Department is requesting permission to donate one of our out-of-service dump trucks to the Hebron Lions. This is a 1991 GMC six-wheel dump truck. I've been informed that they need a vehicle for performing on-site maintenance. And if not donated, this truck will be placed for auction, which either whatever would bring more money, auctioning it off or selling it to the scrapyard for scrap. So we'd have to find that out, but you're not looking at a lot of money. This truck will be placed for auction. The Lions have assisted the Public Works Department in the town each year by offering storage for our sweepers, mowers, and other equipment that needs inside storage to prolong the life of the equipment. I think this would be an appropriate gesture to support their organization. So like I said, this truck is numbered as truck 10. The truck that we gave the Lions the last time was truck 10 that this replaced. So that's how far apart they are. So this, like I said, we're not using this. We could, put it out to auction. I don't think we're going to get very much money for it. I think less than $1,000, to be honest. So this is something the Board of Selectmen has approved in the past. So we have this in front of you tonight to consider.
I'll read the motion, open it up for discussion. Move that the Hebron Board of Selectmen approve the donation of a 1991 GMC six-wheel dump truck to the Hebron Lions and authorize Andrew J. Tierney, the town manager, to take steps and sign documents to finalize the transfer from the town of Hebron to the Hebron Lions. Open it up for discussion. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Tiffany?
Tiffany Teely, aye.
Peter?
Peter Casper, aye.
Thank you. Our next thing would be the Leary Firefighters Foundation.
I
grant-
assumed you voted. I assume, I didn't hear you. I don't know if anyone missed it. I assumed you voted, Mr. Chairman.
For the dump truck?
Yeah, I just didn't hear you. I don't know if your mic cut off or,
You said aye.
no, you did. Okay, I didn't hear you. So,
Oh, yeah. Oh, I said
Yeah,
aye.
no, I assumed you did. I just didn't hear it. So I didn't know if somebody else didn't hear it. I wanted to make sure they heard.
You know what? I'll say aye.
No, that's all. No, 3 is enough. I just missed it. And I assumed it was yes, but
Or maybe I did it as I was turning away. I honestly don't know.
I
But,
don't want you to get in trouble.
oh, I love trouble. I'm selling dartboards with my face in the middle of it. No, that's not true. Somebody will be looking online trying to find one. Okay, Andy, you wanna?
Yep, thank you. The fire department is requesting authorization to submit a grant application for the Leary Firefighters Foundation grant per the attached from Chief Starkell. I believe Chief Starkell is with us tonight. There is a motion there. I'm not sure if you want to read that first and then
Yeah.
actually have him report to it.
Sure. The motion, move the Hebron Board of Selectmen approve the application to the Leary Firefighters Foundation Grant Program for climate-controlled automatic external defibrillators, AED, cabinets, and AEDs, and authorize Andrew J. Tierney, town manager, to apply for, accept, and receive the grant if awarded. Okay, opening it up for discussion. I'll turn it over to Pete, our Chief Starkell.
Hey, everybody. So we applied for the Leary grant last year. Unfortunately, we weren't successful, but they encouraged us to apply again this year. So again, our goal is to place these climate-controlled AED boxes around town in public areas so that there's AEDs that are available throughout the town to the public. So the pretty cool concept. These boxes are climate controlled, so we don't have to worry about the pads or the units freezing. And they can be opened. A person can call 911 and the dispatch center will send a code and it'll pop the box open. So we're hopeful that we'll be successful this year. As again, they encouraged us last year after we were not successful to definitely reapply. So this is our ongoing effort to keep our community a heart-safe community. And I think these would be a great asset to the town.
Anybody have any questions to Chief?
I just have one question, Chief. When you say out in the public or distributed around town, are we thinking town buildings, businesses, schools? What exactly do you have in mind, if you can share that?
Yeah, so we do have some out in the public already, but these would be placed like at the park, like Burnt Hill Park. We'd have them out there in strategic areas where where the public's going to gather. We did purchase one last year. There is one at the fairgrounds. So we pick spots around town where there's public gatherings and the population is a little bit higher, just so that they're readily available.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
So Chief, is the grant for a certain amount of money or a certain amount of devices or both?
That's a great question. So basically what we do is we submit to them what the actual cost is, per unit. So roughly the box is about $1,000 and then the AED is about $1,500. And the foundation will look at it and they'll decide whether they want to fund one or they want to fund 10. So it's really kind of up to them. So it could be anywhere from $2,500 to $25,000. So.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Tiffany?
Tiffany Teely, aye.
Peter?
Peter Casper, aye.
And myself, aye. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Motion carries, and hopefully we'll get the grant this year.
I hope so.
Next would be our consent agenda for,
They have the draft agenda, Dan.
the draft agenda, right? That's like, okay, I'm missing something here.
This is Donna. I gotta jump in here that before we get to that, we have the tax rate bill that needs to be approved. This was added to the agenda just this morning
Oh.
in light of the budget approval.
Oh, that's right. I don't have it. That's right.
Okay, I was gonna say, okay, great. So it'll be a new item 9F. So the motion we'll discuss, move the Hebron Board of Selectmen approve and sign the tax rate bill dated June 15th, 2022, as presented by the revenue collector. Did you want to discuss this or anything?
Nope. No, it is what it is. We do it every year.
Okay. So hearing the motion, anybody have any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, Tiffany,
Tiffany Teely, aye.
Peter,
Peter Casper, aye.
and myself, I. Okay. So now we are set for the
And if we
drafted.
could just ask each of the selectmen to come into the office before the end of the month to sign it.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
I'll try to get in tomorrow. Okay, draft agenda again, as always. It's listed. If you have anything to add or whatever, get it to the town staff so they can get added on.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I know this is, we discussed this earlier in the beginning of the meeting, that this is a meeting you might want to consider to postpone due to the relevance of the holiday week. You've, selectmen have done that in the past. That's
Okay.
something the board would have to discuss.
uh,
And I probably should make sure I didn't. Mark is at graduation tonight. That's the reason why Selectman Rivera is not in attendance. I didn't know if
Okay.
everybody knew that.
I'm just looking through it now to see if there's anything that we should be adding to the special meeting on the 29th. Uh, I don't really see anything that can't get put off. Does anybody have any issues with us canceling that July 6th meeting? So all in favor of canceling the July 6th meeting and adding the couple of topics to the 29th meeting, June 29th meeting as previously discussed? All in favor of that signify by saying aye, please. Tiffany?
Tiffany Teely, aye.
Peter?
Peter Casper, aye.
And myself, aye. So, okay. So I'll take care of that. Stay papers. So we have on as our consent agenda, the approval of the minutes of the June 1st, 2023 regular meeting. I looked through it and it seemed to be substantially accurate. Did anybody have anything else? Okay, all in favor of the approval of the June 1st, 2023 regular meeting minutes as adopted, signify by saying aye. Tiffany?
Tiffany Teely, aye.
Peter?
Peter Casper, aye.
And myself, aye. I don't see any tax refunds. So I'm going to assume that we are set on that. With that, we get into our liaison reports. Tiffany?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one thing to report of note for the selectmen from last week's Open Space and Land Acquisition Commission meeting. There was discussion had about 5 acres of property. That's a part of the St. Peter's Church parcel. This portion of the property in question abuts town operated open space and allows an opportunity to extend that area for recreational activities. And so the commission moved to recommend to the Board of Selectmen that these 5 acres of the St. Peter's parcel portion be acquired. So I would expect more information coming soon from the chairman on that. And that is what I have.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Peter?
Parks and Rec Commission meets next week, and I did not attend the meeting for the Board of Finance, but we covered the pertinent issues that emanated from that meeting. So I have nothing further. Thank you.
Okay. At the Hebron Historic Properties Commission, Mr. Tomoleri did come, presented the documentations from the professors and all, and talking about trying to turn that into a outdoor museum. My comment to him was, we're not maintaining a lot of the open space lands that we have now, and we don't have the money. I don't know where we're going to find money to maintain and operate a museum. But this would be something that, depending on what the surveys and everything come back as, will create some other discussions on what to do with some of this property. Other than that, we do have the Juneteenth coming up. That'll be this weekend. So been a lot of cleaning and activity at the Peters House to get that set, not only for that venue, but again, opening the Peters House for people to take a look at a grand 1800 vintage structure and some of the things that we have found, some of the different artifacts. Also wanted to state that during Memorial Day, the observation post was opened up, and they usually get, approximately between a half a dozen to a dozen people that come through that. And one of the comments was there was a young girl that came into there, and I believe she goes to a magnet school, but was very well informed as to what the observation post was, its purpose, and how it played a part in the early days of World War II. So, it was like pretty neat. Somebody actually knows some of their history. So that was a neat thing. Outside of that, that's all I've got. So with that, any other comment? Andy, you have anything on Chatham Health or any of that?
Joe?
Okay. With that, we'll open it up for public comment again. I see we have Terry. Please, please go ahead, Mr. McManus.
Okay, can you hear me?
We hear you. We don't see you.
Ah, there we go. It asked me to update today on
There you
both computers, and that was a mistake. Mr. Chair, Board of Selectmen, commenting on the DPW. With all due respect, I see what Kevin has written here. And the only question I have is, when is OSHA there when we have all the trucks parked? Is there an inspection done during that point in time? Is OSHA there when the employees are sleeping on the floor upstairs or eating at those tables? Is OSHA there when the possibility of, well, they probably are on the wash station, I'm sorry. I know everyone's working hard on this stuff. What I'm afraid of right now is that a request was made, an answer was given, and as we muddle through trying to find out where we're going to put the next facility, the current facility may be forgotten. I urge us not to do that. Our employees are working in unsafe and unhealthy conditions, and I think that's on us to correct. And thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Board of Selectmen.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Rhodes, did I see?
Yes, Lily Rhodes is next.
Okay.
Yes, I just wanted to commend you on the thoughtfulness that you're giving to all these issues for the Department of Public Works. Seems like we need a interim solution for current site to get us to a future site. So I want to affirm the need for that. And I also especially want to say tonight's graduation ceremony at RAM was awesome. They were parking cars on the grass all over the place because there were so many people that came. The band was having fun. They were wonderful. The graduates marching in. I mean, the whole thing was just absolutely wonderful. So I wasn't able to stay for the whole thing because I wanted to come to Board of Selectmen. But kudos to RAM, an awesome, awesome school that I hope we are all proud of. It is just such a wonderful group of kids. Kudos to all of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mark Stewart is up next.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mark.
There was some discussion about the CIP, and Dan, I heard your concerns about the CIP budget going in the wrong direction with the lack of support from the community. And I want to advocate for bringing back the CIP committee. I think it was a big error on the part of the Board of Selectmen when that was disbanded. And I think by bringing that back, reconstituting it with the citizens at large who represent the community, that we will have a better outcome with our CIP budget. It was one of the best functioning committees that I have ever participated in the town, and I would like to see it restored. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next up is Kevin Tulamari.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Just very briefly, please. I would just like to respond to the idea that I understand the budget is tight in Hebron, but the idea of the potentials of a outdoor history museum and some exorbitant expense, I'm not sure that's the concept that is going here. And I think recognizing and preserving our historical assets and these really unique historical characteristics that are right within walking distance of downtown can be a huge economic boom for Hebron, as ecotourism and agritourism really drives a part of the economy these days, and something that we can really capitalize on and turn into something very special, not only for the residents of Hebron, but for the whole surrounding community, especially including students from Hebron. And the professor from UConn was very interested in bringing his classroom here. I think we're really talking about a few walking trails and maybe a pavilion, maybe not a pavilion. I think it's something that is very doable. I think actually Hebron does a great job of maintaining its open space, and that our open spaces are not neglected. They're widely used and very active. I don't see I see very good maintenance at the Raymond Brook Preserve, but I don't see a lot of exorbitant expenses going into maintaining these cinder paths that are there. And I see a lot of people using them, the potential to expand across the street, recognize these historical characteristics, and create an economic draw for Hebron is one really major potential. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mal Lecter is next.
Good evening. I haven't heard it discussed and didn't know if you were aware, but this kind of, Danny, would have gone with your report, and it's on AHM. Many of you may have heard that AHM was again this year competing for Boston Red Sox award of $10,000. And it was through the end of May, and it was simply residents voting for an organization in Connecticut, as well as organizations in other states. There were awards made in every New England state. Bottom line is this year, the AHM Youth and Family Services had the most votes and won a $10,000 grant from the Boston Red Sox. Tressa Giordano and her team went to Fenway Park on last evening, and they were presented with the check. So if you get a chance, just mention it to the folks over at AHM. There was a lot of activity that made this come true. So thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. And did not AHM get some money from the state? Or am I?
Well, it looks like, and I don't know the details, but it looks like they received an additional $200,000 as part of the budget, similar to what they received in the last biennium budget. This was the increase to nonprofits, and their piece of it was, I believe it's $100,000 a year over the next 2 years.
Okay, I thought I had read something. The downside of reading stuff at sometimes midnight is it doesn't fully register. You know? So, okay, great, thank you. Okay, does anyone have anything else? Hearing none. Benefit of the order?
Move to adjourn at 8:54 PM.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very, very much, everybody. Have a great, safe weekend.